Hey, Queensland crew here. We made it to Townsville. This is Joe, she's your event manager. My name's Bob, I'm your race director. Let's run through the rider briefing for Shimano GP Hot Rock. That's right, the Hot Rock is back here in Townsville. Can't wait, it's going to be a great Saturday.
Today,
Joe, what are we covering?
Yeah, today we've got some important facts. So one, we need to talk about COVID. Two, our event format, so you all understand and can get along and enjoy the race. Three, our course map. There's been such conversation about what is the track for the event on Saturday. We'll then talk our sponsors and what else is upcoming here in Townsville while we're in town.
Hey, out there is Magnetic Island, just down there is Townsville. This is Castle Hill, right in the middle of town. Fantastic place to visit. If you're in North Queensland, you must come to Townsville. You must bring a mountain bike. Over there's Pallaranda, back there's Douglas. Now that's where we're holding this race. It's going to be great. We've got 3 races this next 2 weeks. This rider briefing is all about the Shimano Hot Rock GP. Let's cover the points.
Yeah,
let's
talk, COVID. Yeah. Let's talk about COVID.
It's been an absolute tragedy up in Victoria. We're lucky here in Queensland. We've got very few cases and we're running events as per usual. We're allowed 500 people in an outdoor gathering, which means we've got to limit numbers to 250 so that we can have 500 people attend an event. We've got to look after our social distancing. We've got to make sure we track everybody, and this is really important. Everybody who turns up, riders or spectators or supporters or just people looking and having a visit, must come to the registration tent, grab themselves a wristband to say they've checked in, give us your name, number and an email address so we can track you.
It's nice and simple. It's online now. The registration link will have some Q codes around that you can scan on the day, so it won't take very long, but let us capture your details while you're there.
And we've got to do it because we've got to keep this COVID at bay and keep running mountain bike races, which we love to do.
The other important thing is our social distancing. We're lucky in our sport. We always have our bikes in our hands, so automatically it gives you that distance. But check out our information and please follow it through. Come and ask us any questions if you've got any concerns.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, heading to the event format. Tell us, what is the event we're putting on?
Yeah, so Shimano GP, 4-hour or 7-hour. The old Hot Rock was an 8-hour race, and I believe it went to a 24-hour race once. It's a 4-hour or 7-hour event. You can run it as a solo, you can run it as a team. Teams of 2 in the 4-hour, teams of 2 or 3 in the 7-hour.
So in teams, when you're out on track, are you riding all together?
No. So the teams works like this. It's a relay. One rider starts, gets through to transition, hands over to another rider. That's how the team works. Transition, typically, before COVID, was a touch. You just high-five each other and keep riding, and the next person keep riding. In COVID world, we have no touches, so all that needs to happen is the person finishing a lap needs to cross the rear wheel of the person starting a lap, and as soon as they do that, the guy starting a lap's good to go. Keep racing, keep rolling around, and yeah.
You mentioned transition area. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so the transition will be in the main skills park of Douglas. You guys can't miss it. In that transition area, solo riders will have their tents for feeding and for drinks, and the teams riders, that's where you gather. You are allowed to transition anywhere after the finish mat, which will be just as you enter the skills park in Douglas. You're allowed to transition anywhere after that, all the way up to that top corner before you come around on the fruit loop.
Yeah, so we welcome team tents to come along, marquees. We will have a large Red Bull shade, wigwam shade provided, and there is some trees out there, so yeah.
And there's picnic tables and there's bike racks and all that sort of thing. The club have a great facility out there. There's lots of space to relax.
Okay.
There's a pump track for kids.
So in regards to results, how do you win this race?
Yeah, so it's very easy. The person who does the most laps wins. Simple. If you're in the 4-hour, you must have started your last lap by the 4-hour cut-off, which is 1 p.m. We'll be starting racing at 9 a.m. Everybody starts racing in the same wave at 9 a.m. So at 1 o'clock, you must have started your last lap at 1 o'clock. So the winner is the person who's done the most number of laps in that time, and where two people or teams have done the same number of laps, the team or person that did it fastest, he gets the beans.
Okay, in the 7 hour, what time's their last lap?
7 hour, obviously, runs for 7 hours. Start at 9, finish at 4. Got to be on course by 4 o'clock. If you cross the line just before 4, you can't go out. Or just before 4, you can go out for another lap. Just after 4, that's the end of the race. And you're allowed to complete your lap. That's very important. You can complete your lap. It will only count if you do complete it.
Is there a way of checking results during the day or times?
Results will be live. There'll be QR codes around the village with your results. You'll be able to just click on that QR code. Most modern cameras, most modern phones rather, that'll pop up a link, and you just press that link. That'll take you straight to the results page. You'll be able to see all of the results there live, and you'll be able to track who's in front of you, who's behind you. We'll do a little bit of commentary during the day and give people a bit of a breakdown, but let's face it, most of you will be out on track at the time, so it really won't count for much, but you will be able to track it.
He always likes a good chat though.
You will be able to track it on your phone at the venue. Results will be live.
All right, now the big question, the course. There's been a lot of lots of conversation about what's the final.
So I made a couple of errors early where I put the course on tracks that hadn't been as well groomed as I remembered back from when I was here about 3 years ago. So the course is, the race will start on Fruit Loop, on the Fire Road of Fruit Loop, and head up, break onto a short link to get over onto Easy Street. Right up Easy Street, great climb. It's a fabulous climb. It's smooth. There's nothing treacherous about it at all. You get around the corners fine. Even I can ride it, and let's face it, I'm not a climber. Get on, after you've done Easy Street, onto Beefwood, ride Beefwood out. At the end of Beefwood, you get onto the ridge line, you do the jumps bypass on ridge line that'll take you down onto Whiptail. Ride Whiptail all the way back to Hayden's Hump, and then from there you drop down Rock and Roll 2 and 3 before going on to 21 Jump Street, and then back onto the bottom section of Easy Street, back into the race village.
You mentioned Rock and Roll, Bob. You need to talk more about Rock and Roll. It is the pinnacle of this race.
Yeah, so lots of talk about Rock and Roll. Lots of people are scared of Rock and Roll, and let's face it, some of those A-lines on Rock and Roll are quite treacherous, and that's why we're going to take out most of the A-lines. All the big A-lines are going to be removed, bunted out, forcing people onto the B-lines. There is one B-line which is still pretty treacherous, and there are trail fairies up there in the next 2 days who we will carve those corners in and make them a little bit more easy to get around, in the hope that well, it'll definitely be easy, let's face it. And then once you get down down onto Jump Street, yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned the A and B lines that we've got going. Let's talk about the rider.
Okay, so where there's an A and a B line, lots of people use them. So B lines are used for riders who aren't technically as capable, so they don't do the A lines. That would be her. That's not her.
I never ride.
That's me too. So you go on a B line. If you're coming up behind a rider that's going on the B line and you do the A line, in a lot of cases that means you get to pass them. It's not necessarily the case though. If you come up behind a B line and they get back onto the track in front of you, you still have to pass them safely. You don't get a right of way. Okay? So when you come back from a B line, from an A line, when somebody's come back from a B line and they come out onto the trail, now they have to be careful and not get in your way as well, but they don't necessarily, because you're generally travelling in the same direction, they can see you, they see the person behind them more difficultly than you can see the person in front of them. That didn't make sense, but anyway, you know what I'm saying.
Visual view.
That's right. You can see them. When you see them, you still have to give way to them because you are the rider behind. Okay. When you get onto a back onto the main track and rejoin, then it's just like at that point where you have to pass safely. And let's cover a little bit of passing. When you come up behind a slower rider, key to passing is communicating. First thing you do is say, "Hi, I'm behind you. Can you let me pass when you're ready?" Okay. Typically, most riders will go, "No worries, just up here on the corner, pass on the inside," or something similar. Or they'll say, "Yep, no worries, pass on my right or pass on your left," something along those lines. The key is communications, and the best thing you can do after a pass is say, "Thanks very much, you're a legend, good on you, keep going," all that sort of encouragement, because let's face it,
It is a long race.
it's a long race and we're all out here to have fun. And yeah, we've got to make sure we are still smiling at the end of the day, and nothing ruins a day more than somebody overtaking you and then being rude to you. That's bad.
Yeah, that's not in our racing community, so
Not
we're all good on that. Okay, so that's the course, and the new map will be uploaded. We're back. We were just talking about the kids race, so it's 11 o'clock. Come out, just register, come to registration desk, and we will sort it out and get a number plate on the little folks. And now it's probably time to get back out on course and get this course
we've got some
marked.
trails to mark.
Yeah, so don't forget, registration is open. We also check out our events coming up next week. So Friday, Rocky Trail Academy, a school event, so all for school students, leading into the Fox Superflow, both across Saturday and Sunday. So follow us on our socials and our newsletter, and you'll get all the details as they roll out.
And that was the rider brief.
All right.
See you on Saturday.
Bye from Castle
Bye.
Hill.